Each year on this Sunday after Christmas, second Sunday really, I guess, isn't it, after Christmas, the church celebrates a liturgical feast of the Epiphany. It is often called the Day of the Three Kings, or the Magi. In Spanish we say the Magos. Everything we know about the Magi is contained in the few verses that we just heard proclaimed in the Gospel of Matthew. It's a huge feast in many parts of the world, certainly in Mexico, Central America, South America, and many traditions around it, but it's almost as big as Christmas. And so it's interesting that you'd have that all at attention with so few information that we have from the gospel. Because the gospel, we're only told that they come from the east, but we're not told what country they came from. We have not a clue. There's no further explanation anywhere from where they could have come. We're not even sure if they were kings. We were told that they were looking for the newborn king of the Jews, but we are not told exactly why. You know, we assume because they wanted to offer gifts, that they heard of this Jewish belief that a Messiah was coming, and so maybe that was its purpose. And even though we have always assumed that there were three of them, we are actually not told the number by Matthew. If you notice in that gospel, it doesn't say how many kings there were or how many magi there were. We have somehow gotten over centuries to believe there might have been three of them. And we know from the account that they had three gifts: gold, frankincense, and myrrh. Beyond that, that's the history we have of these people that we call the three kings. There is even one theory that suggests that the Magi could have been women. But that is very doubtful, because if they had been women, they would have asked for directions, arrived on time, helped deliver the baby, cleaned the stable, made a casserole, and brought useful gifts like diapers instead of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. But there are some serious traditions that actually speak of them as possibly being women. There is a Persian legend that the Magi were of different ages. This is really a legend. Balthasar is, in this legend, a teenager. Gaspar is in his 40s, and Melchior is an old man. And as the three men follow the star and arrive at the place where Jesus is, which in this legend says was a cave, they decided to enter individually. Balthasar goes in first. He finds the cave empty except for a young boy the same age as he was. As he exits, Caspar goes in. There is nothing in the cave except a man in his 40s, just like him. Finally, Melchior enters. All that is there is an old man, just like him. The three men are discouraged. They begin to wonder if their long journey was totally in vain. They discuss returning to their own country. Then Melchior says, let's try this one more time. This time, let's go in together. So the three Magi walked into the cave together and found the child Jesus with his mother. They prostrated themselves and offered their gifts. This Persian legend helps us to focus on a biblical message rather well. The message of Epiphany, the message of the Magi, is that God's salvation is available to all people, to a child, to a middle-aged person, to an old person. And that his message is for all of us, and that he sees us all as one people. The love of God spans all the differences that are present in humanity: ethnicities, place of birth, rich, poor, whatever it may be. God's love bridges all of divisions of nationality, race, politics, economic background. The purpose of this is to tell us that we are all one, united in the love of God that comes to us from Christ's presence among us, his birth. God with us, Emmanuel. God's love and his mission are not limited to any one generation. God's glory and God's goodness can be seen in the experiences of every age group. God invites the energy of the young, the responsibility of the middle-aged, and the wisdom of the elderly. We should be open to see and hear God speak to us in our grandchildren, in our parents, in our sons and in our daughters, in friendships and relationships that we establish with people in generations other than our own. We can all learn together to walk this journey, to follow this star. It is only together that the fullness of God's glory can be seen. On this feast of the Epiphany, the Magi give us an example of trust. We must trust in our journey to follow Christ, trust that God will lead us, and trust even when it seems that God is not leading us. Even when the trail runs cold, we believe and we trust that God will not let us get lost. The Magi would never have reached their destination had they not continued to trust. When the star was not leading them anymore, they still pursued. They still had this vision to be and find out what was going on. And we should have that hunger and thirst and desire in our lives to follow that star, to find with wonderful wisdom where the Lord is in our lives. They saw the star as a sign that led them to the long-awaited Savior. God, who sent the star, is capable of continuing to lead us even without a star. God will always direct us if we're open to follow him.